We're in an election now where I believe 75% of the people who vote will hold their nose when they go in to vote. Joe didn't want to go. Joe's still pissed that he's gone. Joe is pissed, and I'll show you on my phone. I talked to her yesterday for an hour and a half. Joe's pissed at Nancy Pelosi. He saw her as the reason. And Joe said, you know what? I don't think Nancy Pelosi wants Harris. So guess what? Here you go.
Florida's Fourth Estate with hosts Ginger Gadsden and Matt Austin. The show where we bring Florida into focus.
Well, the last time we talked to you seemed to be kind of coming over to the DeSantis side.
Listen, I was very high on him in the beginning, especially in light of what he said to me in the park. I read the language, your language, my language. It was unambiguous.
All right, so when did it take a turn?
When he ran for president and needed $100 million. And then and there's only a few people that have that $100 million, that's special interest. Pharmaceutical, liquor, hedge fund, builders, you know. So that's how they all are.
It's hard to find a politician.
Yeah, I'm not I can't
all
say that I'm disgusted with DeSantis over that because it works both ways.
But that's how the system is designed.
I know, and that's why I said F the system. I went around the system and I did my constitutional amendments. And then what I found that's very hopeful for me is that when you take a D down and an R down, most of us agree on most things. We don't care about gay marriage. If you want to be gay and married, do it. If you want to smoke weed, do it. If you want to, but if you want to try to pay somebody $8 an hour, you're not going to get to do it anymore. I'm going to stop it. And I did stop it. And I think what I did when I did that, all these other companies were like, hey, we might as well, start. Now you see these theme parks are paying more than $15 sometimes.
Yeah, and we're supposed to get to 15 by 2026, and it's too late for that. Yeah. So, okay, you just said something that was really telling because we got to witness it during the debate between the two vice presidential candidates. When you said you take away the R and the D, those guys both agreed on it was like they were friends. They both agreed on so many things. Where do you think we turned the corner on not being able to say, like, that's a great idea, but I could improve upon that? When did it become so ugly?
2 words, Rush Limbaugh.
That's what you trace it back to, huh? Rush Limbaugh.
Because that's when those things were said, but they were never said publicly. They said it. Crazy Uncle Ed would sit at the head of the table and scream stuff. But we never put Uncle Ed out there.
On the radio.
Rush Limbaugh gave all of us, the permission to be nasty. And he became a billionaire doing it.
He did make a lot of money.
Married a very beautiful girl, like his 5th marriage. And the interesting about Rush Limbaugh, he was taking so many opioids and illegal drugs that he lost his hearing. He had a cochlear implant because he was an abuser. All the stuff he railed against, he was at home down in Oxy.
Oh, boy.
Now his very young, beautiful wife can go marry somebody that she really wants to marry.
God.
And when you look at them together, you're like...
He can't defend himself because he's gone from this earth.
I
know.
Well, Rush dealt it. I'm dealing it to Rush. May he rest in peace. I did meet him one time. I had a drink with him one time at Mar-a-Lago.
You were at Mar-a-Lago?
I've been there. Yeah, and I was there with the club. Was there? Trump was there. And Rush was fantastic. And I'm talking to him, and I said, you're totally different. He goes, it's an act. And he wrote my friend Adam Donner a $100,000 check for one of his charities. I mean, he was fantastic in person.
Man, I'm just trying to picture this guy at Mar-a-Lago hanging out with Trump and Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, I went there with a member, Adam Donner. May he rest in peace. He passed away. But yeah, I was there, and Trump came over, and Rush came over, and the little boy was running around on the below Barron.
Oh, Barron. Yeah.
He's not little anymore.
Yeah, he's a tall guy now.
I think he went to New York to play for the Knicks. I think. I mean, that guy,
he grew up. For sure.
His nickname is Stretch Trump.
He is a tall drink of water.
Yeah, he is. He's grown a lot.
Handsome.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, since we're bringing up Trump, Kamala Harris ended up taking over for Joe Biden. I've seen you on Twitter. Joe Biden's a friend of yours. I know you guys have the same breed of dogs, and you've hung out. Have you jumped on to the Kamala Harris train?
Well, listen, the train I was on was the Val Demings train. You got to remember that. I pushed very, very hard for Val Demings to be his running mate. I did not like what Kamala Harris did to Joe Biden in the debate in Iowa, where she blindsided him.
With the buses.
Basically called him a racist, which made me angry. And then the next day had these T-shirts, "I'm that little girl." It was all premeditated. And she was very close with his, it'd be like if one of your people that you trusted stabbed you.
But isn't that what debates are for? You're supposed to take out your enemy. You're supposed to cut him off at the knees, right?
It all depends on who you are. For me, I would not, but she did. But as I've said, to your point, it's not my grudge to hold. It's Joe Biden's grudge to hold. So when Joe dropped out, I'd already raised $800,000 for the campaign. So there's $800,000 there. She doesn't need my money. She doesn't need anybody's money.
She's got a lot of it.
She's got a lot of it and that money is, some of it's for her, but most of it's against Trump. We're in an election now where I believe 75% of the people who vote will hold their nose when they go in to vote.
Just make a decision.
And they're going to be voting not for who they like the most, but who they hate the least.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be some people very rabid for Trump, very rabid for Harris. I'll vote for Harris. Because I look at what Harris's cabinet would look like, and then I think about what Trump's cabinet would look like. I've seen Trump's cabinet. It's like a clown car. Michael Flynn and, I guess Sean Hannity would be the Secretary
Possibly
of State.
Elon Musk.
Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby Kennedy. He's in my firm, Bobby's a member of my firm.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Are you talking past tense now?
Well, we took him off when the COVID hit. Because he was anti-vax. I said, Bobby, I got to take you down. Yeah. No, he
was a member of your firm as recently as 2020?
We settled a big case together called Porter Ranch. He got a huge bonus. We had to, there are a lot of people called me about his income from me. He made $10 million 1 year with me.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Okay, but you were not a fan of how the Democrats handled pushing Joe out. But you said at the end of the day, you called it Joe-jitsu, the way it ended up. And I love that. Explain that.
Joe-jitsu, Joe didn't want to go. Joe's still pissed that he's gone. Joe is pissed, and I'll show you on my phone. I talked to her yesterday for an hour and a half. Joe's pissed at Nancy Pelosi because he saw her as the reason. And Joe said, you know what? I don't think Nancy Pelosi wants Harris. So guess what? Here you go.
Oh, really?
That's what I think.
You're just going off opinion here.
Sort of.
Factual opinions.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to use
evidence-based opinions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Oh, it's so intriguing and intriguing, and it's just so interesting.
He did it in a fit. He did it on a Sunday morning. He did it in a fit.
Yeah.
And then
it's like, here, take it.
Yes.
But he didn't mean it.
He was mad, but he knew. Listen, if he didn't do it, they were going to release 100 congressmen and women. They were going to say drop out.
That we're all going to go against him.
Look, she told Mike Donilon. She said, put Mike Donilon on the phone. That's his speech guy. And she said, your numbers are wrong. Don't forget, these people around him, money for them. Mike Donilon had a huge payout coming for the ad buy. Anita Dunn was moving in and out of the White House. Her husband was a lawyer. Steve Richetti's brother's a lobbyist. The gravy train ended that day for all those people. Just boom.
There are a lot of angry people right now.
But look, we couldn't.
Do you think he would have lost though?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you're kind of glad that he did what he did.
He had to. As James Carville said, that debate, it's like seeing your grandmother naked. You can't unsee it. You cannot unsee Granny naked. Like, oh, and you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
I'm going to remember this analogy.
Yeah, I know, and I don't want to.
Well, give it to James. Give that credit to James.
So when you were watching that debate,
did you
what
know?
Were you I mean, that's your friend.
I was like, I own a lot of nursing homes. John Morgan does. Providence Living over at JCC. I got a lot of memory centers. When I was looking at it, I was like, oh my God, is that Sundowners? I don't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I'd already been talking to him because he was moving so slow. His brother came out to stay with me in Maui this year. And I told him, I said, Frank, somebody needs to address the American people. Why is he walking like Tim Conway on the Carol Burnett show? I said, we have to explain that. I said, look, FDR was in a wheelchair. It's okay. The Pope is 87 in a wheelchair. Yeah. It's okay as long as this is okay. And then Frank told me, he said, look, Joe has what my dad had. He has a whatever in his foot. Neuropathy in his foot. It's burning. I said, tell America.
They'll probably understand.
They'll say, I got some stuff in my body. We all got stuff. Yeah. But to be shuffling in.
And hoping no one notices or won't address it. Because
all you're looking at is like, that's a nursing home patient.
Oh, that's
and
tragic.
It's sad. And I think his people did him a great disservice. I texted him once. He didn't text me back and said, you need to address your gait.
He didn't want to hear it.
He didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But do you think they waited that long to be able to put the person they wanted into place? That's the kind of conspiracy theory out there. Yeah.
No, because Obama didn't want her and neither did Pelosi.
Who did they want?
They didn't want her. They wanted a convention.
To decide.
They did. Yeah, they wanted a convention. Because everybody's got their favorites. Look, Pelosi's very close with Gavin Newsom. I'm very close with Andy Beshear in Kentucky. He's my guy. When he won, he told me I wouldn't be governor if it wasn't for you, because I made some. And the guy who runs Kentucky for me is John Rabinowitz, is a commissioner of horse racing in Kentucky. One time I was at the Derby with the governor and Rabinowitz, and I said, you know, Governor, on a day like today, the Kentucky Derby, John Rabinowitz might be the most powerful man in Kentucky. He said, no. I said, why not? He goes, because I can fire him. So I said, you got a good point, Andy.
Point. Excellent point.
That's
well,
fair.
You just threw out two names that would have had there been a convention.
Gretchen Whitmer is fantastic. Now, look, I thought that Harris destroyed him in the debate. When I watched,
Trump. You thought he destroyed Trump?
I thought Harris destroyed him. I thought it was a 10. I thought he was a 3. And so I was like, this is good. I mean, you could, in that debate, you could see her as president. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people you can't see as president until they're president. Harry Truman, nobody could see him as president until he was president.
Sure.
And it's kind of how all of them are. You know, there's only a few people you see as president. You know, Eisenhower we saw as president before he was president because he saved the world.
Yeah.
You know,
but I mean, you have to audition at some point, and that was her audition.
Yeah, but look, it's been a great advantage for her. No primary, no positions. She's been in the Senate no votes, and that's why she's not giving a lot of interviews. It may be frustrating the Republicans, but guess what? Too bad. You frustrated the Democrats when you wouldn't give Obama his Supreme Court for a year. So don't talk about that, and certainly never talk about democracy. I mean, when the Republicans are worried about the Democrats and democracy and your election denying, I mean, Vance couldn't even say that Trump lost the election. They're not allowed to say it. Yeah. They're not allowed to tell the truth. And he called him before that America's Hitler, but then asked directly, Did he lose the election? Well, I grew up in Appalachia, and my grandmother, I was like, your grandmother must be ashamed of you. You forgot where you came from, dude.
But do you think there should be a second presidential debate? Because there was talk that there was supposed to be 3 of them, and we have 1, and it might be the only one we get.
I think there should be, and I think Trump should let it happen. He's the one that's stopping it. It's not her. She's not scared. He is. She says she'll do it. He won't. Why won't he? Because she mopped the floor with him. And his only issue is immigration, and he stopped the bill that would have fixed what will be fixed the next day after this election by all Republicans. But he wanted to run on this issue. Think of how terrible that is. I'm going to screw America for an extra year so I have an issue. I'm going to let the fire keep burning. I can put it out, but I'm going to let it rage on for my benefit. That's terrible.
All right, we got
okay. Now
we got some real inside baseball, some fiery politics.
I've learned some things.
I know.
Today.
Yeah.
We were financing a nudist colony out in Kissimmee, and somebody had to go look at it, So I volunteered. 1995, I decided to build an upside-down house on International Drive. I knew nothing about the attraction business. When I look back on it now, I'm like, what was I thinking? Are your best days ahead of you or behind you?
Oh my gosh, definitely ahead.
The funny thing about that question, I've asked that question to everybody, all stripes and ages. 80 years old, 90 years old, they always say, ahead of me.